There's hardly a person on this planet who hasn't heard of Starbucks, the world's biggest coffeehouse company. But what most people don't know is that its former CEO, Howard Schultz, didn't start with privilege, wealth, or even security. He was born in poverty, raised in public housing, and struggled so badly that at times he had to sell his own blood just to survive. Yet he would go on to build Starbucks into a global empire worth over $100 billion. This is his story, the story of how a young boy with nothing but a dream changed not only his life, but the way the entire world drinks coffee. Howard Schultz was born in 1953 in Brooklyn, New York. His childhood was defined by struggle. He and his family lived in a cramped one-bedroom apartment in the Bayview Housing Projects, a government-funded complex for families who could not afford better. His father, a former Army veteran and truck driver, spent his life working low-paid jobs. But when Howard was just 7 years old, tragedy struck. His father slipped on ice while delivering diapers, broke his leg, and was immediately fired from his job. With no medical insurance, no savings, and no options, the Schultz family was left helpless. Howard never forgot the image of his father lying on the couch, broken and defeated. That moment burned into his mind as one of the most painful memories of his life. It was also one of the defining moments. He would later say that he built Starbucks not just for himself, but to create a company where people would never feel as abandoned and hopeless as his father once did. But at the time, young Howard had no way of knowing how his life would unfold. To escape the weight of poverty, he would sit on the staircase of his building and dream of a life far bigger than the projects, a life where hope replaced despair. Howard loved sports and played football in high school. He earned an athletic scholarship to Northern Michigan University. But instead of focusing on sports, he majored in communications. The scholarship covered some expenses, but not enough. To pay for school, Howard took out student loans and worked a string of odd jobs: bartender assistant, and even selling his own blood to survive. It was a humiliating experience, but it taught him two lessons: the value of resilience and the importance of seizing opportunities no matter how small. After graduating, Howard worked at a ski lodge and later became a salesman. He wasn't rich, and life wasn't easy, but he was hungry for something greater. He wanted to build something of his own.
In his late 20s, Howard came across a small Seattle coffee company called Starbucks. Back then, Starbucks wasn't a cafe. It was just a store selling roasted beans and coffee equipment. But something about the brand fascinated him. For an entire year, he tried convincing the owners to hire him. Finally, at the age of 29, he got the job. It was a turning point, but the real inspiration was yet to come. In 1983, while on a business trip to Milan, Italy, Howard's life changed forever. He walked into an Italian espresso bar and was blown away not just by the coffee, but by the atmosphere. Cafes in Italy were gathering places where the baristas knew their customers by name, where coffee wasn't just a drink, but a ritual, a community experience. Howard realized something powerful: Starbucks could become that place in America. Not just a store, not just a brand, but a third place between home and work, where people could connect. When he returned to the US, he pitched his idea to the Starbucks founders: turn Starbucks into Italian-style coffee shops. But they rejected him. They wanted to stick to selling beans, not transform into cafes. For most people, rejection would mean the end of the dream. For Howard, it was only fuel. He quit Starbucks, determined to make his vision a reality. But there was one massive problem: money. To launch his coffee company, Il Giornale, Howard needed investors. He knocked on door after door, made pitch after pitch. In 1 year, he spoke to 240 potential investors. Out of them, 217 said no. Imagine hearing your idea isn't good enough more than 200 times. Most would give up. Howard did not. Eventually, a small group of believers backed him. And with their support, he opened Il Giornale, bringing the Italian cafe experience to life in America. It worked. People loved it. A few years later, Starbucks itself was struggling financially. Howard saw an opportunity. He gathered his investors, bought Starbucks outright, and merged it with Il Giornale. Now, he had full control to pursue his vision. He rebranded and transformed Starbucks from a small Seattle coffee retailer into a fast-growing chain of cafes. His idea of creating a third place resonated deeply with customers. Starbucks became not just a place to drink coffee, but a cultural phenomenon, always his same girl's voice. By the 1990s, Starbucks was opening new stores daily. By the 2000s, it had spread across the globe. Today, Starbucks has more than 30,000 stores worldwide and a market value of over $100 billion. Howard Schultz, the boy from the projects who once sold his blood to survive, was now a billionaire businessman. But Howard never forgot where he came from. He remembered the hopeless look on his father's face, and he made it his mission to treat Starbucks employees called partners with dignity. He offered healthcare benefits to part-time workers, stock options, and later, education opportunities. He built Starbucks not only as a business, but as a company that valued people. Howard often shares his philosophy. In life, you can blame a lot of people and wallow in self-pity, or you can pick yourself up and say, I have to be responsible for myself. A lot of what we call luck is not luck at all, it's seizing the day. It's seeing what others don't, and having the courage to pursue that vision. I dreamed big dreams, the kind of dreams people said were impossible. But if you wait for perfect conditions, you'll never do anything. A year from now, you'll wish you had started today. Howard Schultz's story is proof that where you start in life does not determine where you finish. He was born in poverty, rejected by investors, and told his dreams were unrealistic. But through persistence, vision, and belief, he turned struggle into success. Howard's journey from selling his blood for survival to building a $100 billion company is not just a business story, it's a human story. It's about resilience, about dreaming bigger than your circumstances, and about never giving up, no matter how many doors slam in your face. So if you're struggling today, remember this: the world doesn't define your future, you do. The question is, what dream are you willing to fight for? If you found Howard Schultz's story inspiring, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more success stories, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. And let us know in the comments, what's the dream you're fighting for right now? Also use same girl voice as used in previous video. Also use Starbucks video.